The day the sky turned black was the day Earth changed forever. Not from clouds or smoke, but from ships, huge ships that blocked the sun. Captain Jum Kim stood on the bridge of his small vessel, the Rabbit Asterisk. Through the view screen, he watched Earth grow smaller as his ship hid in Saturn's rings. His hands gripped the rail until his knuckles turned white. 5 billion people left behind. His parents, his brother, everyone. "Captain, they're broadcasting again," said Yeon Park. Her voice was steady, but her eyes showed fear. She was the best systems expert in the fleet. Now she was one of the last humans not under Hydra control. "Put it on screen," Jum said. The main display flickered. A creature appeared. It had 7 heads on long necks, all moving at once. Its skin was dark blue and looked like metal. This was not one being but many, all connected by technology beyond human understanding. "People of Earth." All 7 mouths spoke together. "The Hydra Collective welcomes you as a protected world. Your resistance has ended. Your governments have surrendered. This is mercy. Accept our rule and live. Reject it and face extinction." Jum closed his eyes. The Hydra had appeared 3 weeks ago. They came with 1,000 ships. Earth's combined fleet lasted 6 hours against them. "Turn it off," he said. The monster disappeared from the screen. Dayoon, the communications officer, looked up from his station. "Sir, the last transmissions from Earth Command stopped 10 minutes ago. They're gone." The bridge was silent. 6 people remained on duty. 6 out of Earth's once proud space forces. The Rabbit Asterisk wasn't even a warship. It was a small research vessel, chosen for this mission because it could hide. Because it seemed harmless. Han Sub checked his weapon. The security officer was always ready for a fight. "We should go back. We can still hit them. One good strike." "And accomplish what?" June asked. "They'd destroy us before we got close." Min Lee, the engineer, looked up from her tablet. "The scans are complete, Captain. The Hydra ships are setting up something on Earth. Big towers in major cities. They're calling them cords." June nodded. This matched their intelligence. The Hydra didn't just conquer. They connected. They turned planets into nodes in their vast network. "That's why we're here," June said. "Not to fight now, but to learn. To wait. To find a weakness." Yun stood and walked to the main display. She brought up an image of Earth, now with red dots appearing where the cords were being built. "These will be their control points. They'll run everything through them." "Can we stop them?" asked Ji Soo, the medical officer. Her voice was small. She had family and soul. Jum didn't answer right away. The truth was, he didn't know. The Hydra had conquered 17 known worlds before reaching Earth. None had broken free. "The Hydra think they've won," he finally said. "They think humans are weak and divided. They think this ship is nothing. A rabbit running from wolves." He touched the screen, his finger tracing the patterns of the growing cord network. "But they don't understand Earth. They don't understand humans. And they don't understand rabbits." Eon looked at him. "What do you mean?" June smiled for the first time in days. "Rabbits chew through things. Cables. Wires. Cords." He turned to face his small crew. "We're going to watch. We're going to learn. And then, when they least expect it, this rabbit is going to start chewing." Outside the viewports, Saturn's rings glittered like 1,000,000 stars. Earth was just a blue dot now. Taken but not lost. "Not yet. Set up the long-range scanners," Jun ordered. "Begin continuous monitoring of all Hydra communications. We're going to learn everything about them." The Rabbit Asterisk drifted silently among the ice chunks of Saturn's rings. Too small to notice. Too insignificant to fear. Just the way Jun wanted it. 5 years passed. Earth changed. Where once stood proud cities, now giant towers reached into the sky. The cords, black, smooth, and always humming. They were the heart of the Hydra control system. June walked through the crowded streets of Seoul, his face hidden under a worn cap. No one looked at him twice. He was just another worker heading home after a long shift in the Hydra mining operation. His real home, however, was not the small apartment listed in the Hydra database. It was deep below the city, in the old subway tunnels the aliens had ignored. ID check, a flat voice called. A human collaborator in a blue uniform blocked June's path. Behind him stood a Hydra guard, its 7 heads moving in different directions, always watching. Jun held out his fake ID chip. 5 years of living in secret had taught him to control his fear. The scanner beeped. "Proceed," the collaborator said without looking up. Jun walked past, feeling the eyes of the Hydra on his back. These guards were just small parts of the collective. Through the cords, they stayed connected to the main Hydra ships in orbit. When he was far enough away, Jun ducked into an old shop. It looked closed and empty, but a light flickered in the back room. He knocked 3 times, paused, then twice more. The door opened. Un stood there, her hair now short and gray before its time. "You're late," she said, but smiled. "Come. The others are waiting." They went down a hidden stairway to the tunnel system below. This had been their base for 3 years now, close enough to the main soul cord to study it, but deep enough to hide from Hydra scans. In the main room, lit by strings of small lights, Da, Han, Min, and 3 new team members sat around a table covered with maps and devices. "The Grand Overseer is coming," Da said without looking up from his screen. Tath itself. To inspect the soul cord. June took off his cap and sat down. When? 3 days. Da showed him the intercepted message. They think everything is secure. 5 years without serious resistance has made them confident. Han cleaned his homemade weapon on the table. Good. Overconfidence makes them sloppy. Min pushed forward a small device. It looked like a metal cube, no bigger than a fist. "I finished it," she said quietly. "The scanner works. It can read the cord's data flow without being detected." Jun picked up the device. 5 years of work, of hiding, of planning, all for this. "You're sure it will work?" Min nodded. "The Hydra technology is advanced, but it follows patterns. I studied the signals for years now. This will get past their security." Ian sat next to June. "If this works, we'll have access to their complete system. We can see how the cords connect to each other, to the ships in orbit, to everything. And then we can cut those connections," Jun said. He looked around at his team. Some faces were new, some had been with him since the beginning. All were tired. All were determined. One of the new members, a young woman named Sun, spoke up. "My family works in the cord maintenance facility. They say the Hydra are taking more people now. Not just for labor. They're connecting them somehow to the system." The room went quiet. They had heard rumors about this. People going into the cords and coming out changed. Quiet. Obedient. Their eyes empty. "Then we don't have much time," Jun said. He stood up. "The Grand Overseer's visit is our chance. Security will be higher, but they'll be focused on looking good for their leader, not on watching for us." He pointed to the map of the soul cord. "We get this scanner inside during the inspection. If Min is right, we'll get everything we need to understand their network." "And then?" Han asked, though he knew the answer. June looked at each face in turn. These people had given up everything for this fight, for a chance most thought was hopeless. "And then," he said, "the rabbit starts chewing through their cords." Outside, the soul cord pulsed with blue light, connecting Earth to the Hydra network that stretched across the stars. For now, the day of the Grand Overseer's visit arrived. Seoul's streets were empty except for Hydra guards and their human helpers. Everyone else was ordered to stay home. Perfect for what they needed to do. June, Yun, and Han moved through the old maintenance tunnels that ran under the city. These tunnels were not on Hydra maps. The aliens thought they knew everything about Earth, but they were wrong. "Stop," Han whispered. He pointed to a small red light ahead. Sensor. Ivan pulled out a device and pointed it at the light. The red glow turned green, then off. "We have 10 minutes before it resets," she said. They hurried past the sensor. The tunnel grew warmer as they got closer to the cord. All cords gave off heat, the cost of sending so much data. June checked his watch. The overseer should be entering the main hall now. All eyes will be on the ceremony. The tunnel ended at a metal door. Beyond it lay the cord's maintenance level. Min had studied the guard patterns for weeks. There would be a 5-minute gap when this entrance would be unwashed. "Ready?" June asked. Han checked his small stun weapon. Yeon patted the scanner in her pocket. Both nodded. June slowly opened the door. The hallway beyond was empty and bathed in blue light. They slipped through and moved quickly toward the main control room. Suddenly, voices came from around the corner. June motioned to a small closet, and they squeezed inside just as 2 Hydra workers passed by. These were not the 7-headed commanders, but smaller worker drones with only 3 heads, still connected to the hive mind, but less aware. When the sound of footsteps faded, they continued. The control room door had a handprint scanner. This was why they brought Han. 3 days ago, he had borrowed the handprint of a technician who drank too much at a local bar. Han pressed the copied handprint against the scanner. The light turned green. The door slid open. The room was huge, filled with screens and blinking lights. At its center stood a pillar of swirling blue energy, the cord's core. "Hurry," Jum said. "We have 4 minutes before the next security sweep." Yeon went to a control panel and plugged in her scanner. Her fingers flew over the keys. "This is amazing," she whispered. "Their whole network is open to me from here. Every cord on Earth connects to every other. And all connect to the mothership." "Can you map it?" June asked. "Yes, but..." Yeon's eyes widened. "June, I can see more than just the map. I can see how it all works. The Hydra don't just use these for control. They need them. The collective mind can't function without constant connection." Han, watching the door, hissed, "Someone's coming." Yeon pulled the scanner from the panel. "I got enough. We can go." But the door slid open before they could hide. A human technician stood there, staring at them in shock. For a long moment, no one moved. Then the technician spoke. "Captain Kim, is it really you?" Jun raised his weapon, but something in the man's face stopped him. "Who are you?" Jun asked. Ta Shin. We served together on the Seoul defense platform. Before." He gestured vaguely upward. Jun lowered his weapon slightly. "If you're really Ta, you'll help us get out of here." Ta looked at the scanner in Yun's hand, then back at Jun. "What are you doing? What's that device?" "We're finding a way to fight back," Jun said simply. Ta hesitated, then stepped aside. 3 minutes until the security drones sweep this section. Take the service lift to sub-level 3. It's not monitored during visits. As they slipped past, Ta grabbed Jun's arm. "Is it true? Is there really hope?" Jun looked into the man's tired eyes. "Yes, the Hydra aren't as strong as they want us to believe, and we're not as weak." They made it back to the tunnels just as alarms began to sound above. Something had been discovered, but it was too late. They had what they came for. Back at their hidden base, Yun plugged the scanner into their computer. The screen filled with data, the complete blueprint of the Hydra network. "Now," said Jun, watching the patterns flow across the screen, "we build our trap." For 3 days, Yun barely slept. She sat at her computer, studying the data from the cord. The blue light from the screen made her face look pale in the dark underground room. Jun brought her food and coffee. "You need to rest," he said. Yun shook her head. "There's something here, something important. I can feel it." On the 3rd day, Min joined her. Together, they looked at the patterns in the Hydra network. Min pointed to a strange flow of data that repeated every few hours. "What is that?" she asked. Ian zoomed in on the pattern. It's different from the rest. Not just control signals or power management. It's more complex. They tracked the pattern through the system. It always led to the same place, a facility on the outskirts of Seoul. According to their maps, it was supposed to be a processing center for Earth's minerals. "We need to see this place," Ian said. Jun didn't like it. The security would be tight. But Ian insisted this was important. The next day, Jun, Min, and Dai went to the facility. They wore the gray uniforms of maintenance workers. Their fake IDs had worked so far, but each time was a risk. The building was large and surrounded by high walls. Guards checked everyone who entered. Inside, they followed a group of real workers down long hallways. "We need to get to level 3, Min whispered, checking her small map. "That's where the special data flow ends." They found a service elevator. Da used a stolen key card to make it go to level 3. When the doors opened, they stepped into a different world. The hallway was white and clean. Through glass walls, they could see rooms filled with beds. People lay on these beds, with wires connecting them to machines. They didn't move. Their eyes were open but empty. "What is this place?" Jun whispered. Min moved closer to one of the glass walls. They're connected to something. Day checked a computer panel near the wall. According to this, they're called neural contributors. They're hooked directly into the Hydra network. A cold feeling spread through Jun's chest. They're using humans as part of their system. They moved further down the hall, careful to avoid the few Hydra workers. In a large room at the end, they saw hundreds more beds, all filled with silent humans. Min took pictures with a small camera. "The data we collected shows this isn't the only facility. There are more like this all over Earth." "Why?" Jun asked. "Why use humans? The Hydra have better technology than we do." Day pointed to charts on a wall screen. "Look at these brain patterns. They're measuring creativity, emotional responses, problem solving. Things the Hydra don't have." "They're not just taking our planet," Min said, her voice shaking. "They're taking what makes us human." An alarm suddenly blared. Red lights flashed in the hallway. "We need to go," Jun said. "Now." They ran back toward the elevator, but the doors wouldn't open. Security lockdown. They could hear heavy footsteps coming from both ends of the hall. "This way," Daz said, pointing to a maintenance shaft. They climbed in just as Hydra guards rounded the corner. It took them hours to make their way out through air ducts and service tunnels. When they finally reached the underground base, Ian was waiting, worried. "We were about to send a rescue team," she said. "What happened?" Jun showed her Min's pictures. Ian's face went pale. "This changes everything," she said. "It's not just about freedom anymore. It's about staying human." That night, Jun couldn't sleep. He found Ian still working at her computer. "If they're connected to humans, that means humans are connected to them," she said without looking up. "It's a two-way link." "Can we use that?" Jun asked. Ian nodded slowly. "I think so. I think I can build a virus. Something that can spread through their entire network. Like a disease." "No," Ian said, looking up with a spark in her eyes. "Like a rabbit. Small, quick, something that chews through their connections from the inside." For the first time in 5 years, Jun felt real hope. 2 weeks passed. The underground base buzzed with activity. Ian rarely left her computer station. She worked day and night on the virus program, which they now called Carrot. "Because carrots are what rabbits like best," Min had joked. Jun watched as his team came together. They had been hiding for 5 years. Now they had a real chance to fight back. Han spread a map on the main table. "The Grand Overseer is still in Seoul. Security is tighter than ever." "That's good," Jun said. Everyone looked at him in surprise. They're looking outward, not inward. They expect an attack, not a virus. Day nodded. "The Hydra think in straight lines. They can't imagine something small beating something big. That night, June found Un still working. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep. "Is it ready?" he asked. "Almost." She showed him lines of code on her screen. "The virus will enter their system through the human connection points. Once inside, it will look like normal data. But then it will start breaking connections, one by one. Will it hurt the humans connected to the system?" Un shook her head. "I designed it to protect human patterns. It only attacks the Hydra neural links." June sat beside her. For a moment, neither spoke. 5 years of hiding. 5 years of planning. And now everything depended on this program. "What are our chances?" he finally asked. Ian was quiet for a long time. 32%, she said, "if everything goes perfectly." "That's not very high." "No, but it's better than 0. She turned to face him. In the blue light of the screen, she looked both tired and strong. "June, if this fails." He took her hand. It was small but tough from years of work. "It won't." "But if it does," she insisted, "the Hydra will trace it back here. They'll find all of us." June knew she was right. This was their one chance. If it failed, there wouldn't be another. "Sometimes the smallest things change the world," he said. "A tiny virus can kill a giant. A rabbit can chew through the most important wire." The next morning, the whole team gathered. Yun had finished the virus. It was time to choose who would go to the soul cord to upload it. "I'll go," Jun said before anyone could speak. Han stepped forward. "You're our leader. You should stay here." "No, I need to do this." Jun looked around at each face. These people had become his family. "But I won't go alone. I need 3 people with me." "I'm going," Yun said immediately. "No one else understands the virus like I do." Min raised her hand. "I know the cord systems best." Han checked his weapon. "And you'll need someone to keep you alive." Dag would stay behind to coordinate. If the plan worked, he would send signals to resistance cells around the world. They would attack the cords in their cities as soon as the virus started working. That night, they'd prepared their equipment. The virus was stored on a small device that Ian could plug into the cord's main system. They would need 15 minutes to upload it completely. "Once it starts, the Hydra will know something is wrong," Ian warned. "We'll have to move fast." June checked his map one last time. Their route would take them through old subway tunnels, then up into the cord building through a maintenance shaft. "We leave at dawn," he said. "Get some rest." But sleep didn't come easily. June lay awake, thinking about the next day. 32% chance of success. 68% chance they would all die. Still, it was their best hope. Their only hope. He thought of an old saying his grandfather used to tell them. Even the smallest tooth can bring down the largest beast if it bites in the right place. Tomorrow, they would bite. Dawn came too soon. June checked his watch. 5:30 a.m. The streets above would still be empty except for Hydra patrols. "Ready?" he asked his team. Han adjusted his pack. Min checked her tools one last time. Yun held the small device containing the carrot virus close to her chest. "Remember," Jun said, "if anything happens to me, keep going. The mission is what matters." They moved through the dark tunnels in silence. Water dripped from old pipes. Rats scurried away from their lights. After 30 minutes, they reached the access point beneath the soul cord. "Da," June whispered into his radio. "Are we clear?" Day's voice crackled through the speaker. "All clear. The morning security check just finished. You have 20 minutes until the next one." Han went up the ladder first. He pushed open the hatch slightly and looked around. Then he gave the signal, and they all climbed up into a small maintenance room. The cord building hummed around them. They could feel the energy pulsing through the walls. "This way," Min whispered, pointing to a service door. They moved through narrow hallways, stopping at each corner to check for guards. The building map Min had memorized was accurate. So far, so good. The main control room is 2 floors up, she said. They found a service elevator. It was meant for repair drones, not people, but they squeezed in. The doors closed, and they started to rise. Suddenly, the elevator stopped between floors. Red lights flashed. What's happening? June asked. Min checked the control panel. Unscheduled security sweep. The system is locking down all service areas. Can we override it? She shook her head, not without alerting them. June looked at the ceiling of the elevator. Then we go up. Han helped push open the ceiling panel. One by one, they climbed out onto the top of the elevator. A maintenance ladder ran up the shaft wall. The next floor should be clear, Min said. We can get back on track from there. They climbed the ladder and forced open the doors to the next level. This floor was different. Clean white halls instead of service corridors. We're in the administrative section, Yun whispered. We need to be careful. Important Hydra work here. They moved silently down the hall. Suddenly, a door opened ahead of them. They pressed themselves against the wall in the shadows. A woman stepped out. She wore the blue uniform of a human administrator. As she turned, Jun felt his blood freeze. He knew her face. Ji-Soo, he whispered. She had been the medical officer on his ship 5 years ago. They had been friends. But when the rabbit fled Earth, she had stayed behind to help her family. Ji-Soo looked directly at them. Her eyes widened in shock. For a long moment, no one moved. Then she stepped forward. June, she whispered. Is it really you? Han raised his weapon, but Jun put a hand on his arm. Ji-Soo, what are you doing here? She glanced nervously at the hallway. I work for them now. I translate human medical data for the collective. She looked at the others. Yun, Min, you're all alive. We need to get to the main control room, Jun said. Now. Ji-Soo's face hardened. The control room? Why? What are you planning? Yun stepped forward. We have a way to fight back, to disrupt their network. Ji-Soo shook her head. You can't win. They're too powerful. They're everywhere. They're not as strong as they want us to think, Jun said. Help us, Ji-Soo. For Earth. She closed her eyes. When she opened them, Jun saw tears. My family, she whispered. They'll punish my family if I help you. June took her hand. If we succeed, no one will punish anyone ever again. For a moment, he thought she would call for help. Then she straightened her shoulders. The control room is guarded, she said, but I can get you past them. Follow me. She led them down a different hallway, away from the main path. At a security door, she used her ID card. This leads to the maintenance walkway above the control room, she said as the door opened. You can access the system from there without being seen. June looked at her. Thank you. Ji-Soo touched his face briefly. I never stopped believing you would come back. Then she was gone, hurrying back to her post. They entered the narrow walkway. Below them, through metal grating, they could see the heart of the soul cord. We're here, Yun whispered. Now the real work begins. From the walkway, they could see everything. The control room below was huge. In the center stood a column of swirling blue light. The main data core. Around it, Hydra workers moved between control panels. Their 7-headed forms cast strange shadows on the walls. There, Min pointed to a panel near the core. That's where we need to connect. Han studied the room. 6 Hydra below, 2 by the door, 1 at each control station. We need a distraction, Jun said. Yun reached into her pack and pulled out a small device. I brought this just in case. It will create a false alarm in another part of the building. She pressed a button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then alarms blared in the distance. 4 of the Hydra rushed out of the control room, leaving only 2 behind. Now, Jun whispered. Han went first, climbing down a service ladder to the floor. He moved silently behind one of the remaining Hydra and placed a small device on its back. The creature stiffened, then collapsed as the stunner sent electricity through its system. A second Hydra turned, its 7 heads moving in different directions, searching. Before it could call for help, Han stunned it too. "Hurry," he called up to the others. "They'll only be out for a few minutes." Jun, Yun, and Min climbed down. Un ran to the main panel while Min stood guard at the door. Jun helped Han drag the unconscious Hydra out of sight. "How long?" Jun asked as Un connected her device to the panel. 15 minutes for the full upload. Maybe 10 if we're lucky." Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. "I'm in. Starting the upload now." The small screen on her device showed a progress bar. 5%, 10%. The carrot virus was entering the Hydra system. "It's working," Yun said with a smile. Then Min called from the door. "Someone's coming." Han moved to help her. Jun stood by Yun as she worked. "Can you make it go faster?" he asked. "I'm trying." Sweat beaded on her forehead. 20%, 25%. The sound of footsteps grew louder outside. Han and Min pressed themselves against the wall on either side of the door. The door slid open. A human collaborator stepped in, saw the empty room, and frowned. Before he could turn, Han grabbed him from behind. "Not a sound," Han whispered, pressing his stunner against the man's neck. The collaborator froze. "Please," he begged. "I have children. They'll kill them if I fail." Jun looked at the man's ID badge. "Yi Sung, Level 3 Technician." "We're not going to hurt you," Jun said. "But we can't let you stop us either." Min quickly tied the man's hands with wire from her pack. "What are you doing?" Yi Sung asked, looking at Un working at the panel. The progress bar showed 40%. "We're taking back our world," Jun said. Suddenly, a voice came over the building speakers. It spoke in the strange multi-toned language of the Hydra. "What's that?" Jun asked. Yi Sung's face went pale. "The Grand Overseer has detected a system intrusion. They're initiating the security lockdown." Red lights began to flash. The control room doors slammed shut with a heavy thud. "How long until they get in?" Han asked. 2 minutes, maybe 3, Yi Sung said. "You can't win. The Hydra are everywhere." "We only need to be here," Yun said without looking up from her work. 55%, 60%. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed outside the door. Something slammed against it, making the metal bend slightly. "They're using force," Min said. Han checked his stunner. "It won't work against more than 2 or 3. Jun looked at the progress bar. 70%, 75%. Not fast enough. "Yun," he said quietly, "if I hold the connection physically, can you get out with the others?" She looked up sharply. "What?" "No, we all leave together." Another slam against the door. The metal groaned. "There's no time," Jun said. "Someone needs to make sure the upload finishes." Yun's eyes filled with tears. 80%, 85%. The door buckled inward. One more hit would break it open. "Go," Jun said, taking the device from her. "Take the maintenance shaft up. Get back to Da. Tell him to start the worldwide attack." "Jun, no." He touched her face. "The rabbit has to finish chewing." "Yun." Han grabbed her arm, pulling her toward the maintenance ladder. Min followed, looking back at Jun with sad eyes. The last thing Jun saw before they disappeared up the shaft was Un's face, tears streaming down her cheeks. Then the door burst open, and the Hydra poured in. 90%, 95%. Jun stood his ground as the Hydra flooded into the control room. He kept one eye on the progress bar. 96%, 97%. The first Hydra reached for him. Jun fired his stunner, but it barely slowed the creature down. More poured in behind it. Too many to fight. 98%. A tall Hydra pushed to the front. This one had 7 larger heads, each with a crown of small spikes. Grand Overseer Xath. Human. The Hydra's 7 mouths spoke as one. You cannot stop what we have built. 99%. June smiled. Watch me. 100%. Complete. A soft beep came from the device. For a moment, nothing happened. The Hydra moved closer. Then the blue light of the core flickered. Xath turned all 7 heads toward the core, then back to June. For the first time, June saw something new in those alien eyes. Fear. The Hydra lunged for the panel, but it was too late. The carrot virus was inside their system, spreading, multiplying, chewing through connections. Alarms blared throughout the building. The lights flickered, then went red. The Hydra began to move strangely, their heads no longer working together. Some jerked in one direction, while others pulled another way. June was grabbed by 4 Hydra guards. They dragged him toward Xath, but their movements were jerky, unsure. What have you done? Xath demanded. 2 of its heads were twitching uncontrollably. Rabbits chew through cords, June said simply. A great rumble shook the building. The floor trembled. Across the control room, screens showed Hydra ships in orbit losing power. Some were drifting into each other. It's spreading through your whole system, June said. Your network is falling apart. Xath roared with all 7 mouths. Take him to my ship. Now. The guards dragged June away. As they pulled him through the corridor, he saw Hydra everywhere, all moving strangely. Some stumbled like they were drunk. Others stood frozen, their heads moving in circles. Outside, the sky was filled with flashing lights. Hydra ships were trying to leave Earth's orbit. Some moved smoothly. Others spun out of control. June was thrown into a small transport ship. Through the window, he could see the Soul Cord. The great black tower that had stood over the city for 5 years was now pulsing with red light. As he watched, sections of it went dark, one by one. The transport lifted off with a jerk. Inside, even the pilots were struggling to control their movements. The virus was affecting every Hydra connected to the network. From high above, June could see other cities, other cords going dark. The virus was spreading around the world. And something else was happening. People were coming out of their homes. They filled the streets, looking up at the struggling Hydra ships. Some were fighting the few Hydra guards left on the ground. Earth was fighting back. The transport docked with a large hypership in orbit. June was dragged through metal hallways to a command center. Grand Overseer Xath was already there, having taken a faster ship. 3 of its 7 heads now hung limp and lifeless. You think you've won, Xath said. Its voice was no longer smooth but broken and raspy. But we will return. We will rebuild our network. We will take your world again. June said nothing. He could see through the large windows that most of the Hydra fleet was pulling away from Earth. The ships moved clumsily, bumping into each other. Some were completely dark, drifting without power. A smaller Hydra approached Xath. It spoke quickly in their strange language. Xath's remaining active heads thrashed in anger. The human connections, Xath said to June. They've all disconnected from our network. How? How did you protect them? June smiled, though his face was bruised and bleeding. We built the virus to recognize what makes us human. The patterns you wanted to use, it protected those patterns while attacking everything else. Xath struck him hard, knocking him to the floor. You are nothing. A small, weak species on a small, weak world. Yes, Jum said, spitting blood. We're small, like rabbits, but we chewed through your cords anyway. The ship shuddered as it broke free of Earth's orbit. Behind them, the blue planet grew smaller. But Jum wasn't worried. He had seen what he needed to see. Earth was free. And in the ship's systems, a small part of the carrot virus continued to spread, unnoticed by the struggling Hydra. 1 month after the Hydra left Earth, people still celebrated in the streets. The great black cords stood empty and dark in every city. Some had been torn down by angry crowds. Others were being studied by scientists trying to understand Hydra technology. Ian stood on a hill overlooking Seoul. The morning sun made the city look golden and new. Han and Min stood beside her, along with Dai and the others from their underground base. "It worked better than we hoped," Dai said. "Reports from around the world say the Hydra fleet is still struggling to function. Their network is in pieces, and the people they connected to the system." Ian asked. Min smiled. "All recovering. The virus protected their minds, just like you designed it to." Ian nodded, but her eyes were sad. They had searched the Seoul cord for days after the Hydra left. There was no sign of June. "He must have been taken to one of their ships," Han said, seeing her face. "He's alive, Ian. I can feel it." She wanted to believe him. She had to believe him. Back at their base, which was now above ground in an old government building, Ian worked day and night. She had set up a system to scan space for any Hydra communications. So far, nothing clear had come through. "You need to rest," Min told her one night. Lun shook her head. "The virus is still out there, still working. If June is alive, he might find a way to use it." 3 weeks later, her faith was rewarded. Day burst into the room while Ian was sleeping at her desk. "We got something," he shouted. Ian jumped up. "What? Where?" "A signal, very weak, from the edge of the solar system." On her screen, Ian saw a pattern she recognized. It was a small data packet, encoded in a way only she would understand. The same method she had used to build the carrot virus. "It's from June," she whispered. Her fingers flew over the keyboard, breaking the code. Numbers appeared on the screen. Coordinates in space. "He's telling us where the Hydra fleet is," she said. More data followed. And more. "He's sending us a map of their ships. Their weaknesses, everything." Han leaned over her shoulder. "How is this possible?" "The virus," Yun said, her voice full of wonder. "It's still spreading through their systems, and June is helping it along." The last piece of the transmission was just 3 words: "Rabbit still chewing." Over the next 2 months, Earth prepared. The old war between nations was forgotten. Humans worked together, building ships using both their own technology and what they learned from the Hydra. Ian led the technical team. They created weapons that could target the weaknesses Jun had revealed. Han trained pilots to fly the new ships. Min and Dai coordinated with teams around the world. 6 months after the Hydra fled Earth, humanity launched its first space fleet, not to conquer, not to destroy, but to rescue one of their own. The day before the fleet launched, Lun stood on the same hill overlooking Seoul. The city lights were all human now. No more blue glow from Hydra technology. "We're coming for you," she said to the stars. The fleet found the Hydra ships at the coordinates Jun had sent. The once mighty armada was in shambles. Most ships drifted without power. Others moved in circles, unable to navigate properly. The Grand Overseer's ship was at the center, still functioning but badly damaged. Earth's fleet surrounded it easily. When they boarded the ship, they met little resistance. Most Hydra were struggling just to move, their connection to the collective mind almost completely severed. They found Jun in a small cell. He was thin and pale, but alive. When he saw Ian leading the rescue team, he smiled. "I knew you'd come," he said as she helped him stand. "We got your message," she said. "The rabbit is still chewing." "And we'll keep chewing," Jun said. "The virus is deep in their systems now. They'll never rebuild their network." As they led him to the Earth ship, Grand Overseer Xath watched from behind a force field. Only 2 of its 7 heads still moved. The others hung lifeless. "You cannot defeat us," it said, but its voice was weak. "We are the Hydra Collective. We are everywhere." Jun stopped and looked at his former captor. "Not anymore. Now you're just separate pieces, and that's what makes you weak." "What makes you strong?" Xath asked. We're connected too, Jun said, taking Yun's hand. Not by technology, by choice, by love, by hope. Things your collective will never understand. As Earth's fleet headed home, Jun stood at the window with Yun. Behind them, the broken Hydra ships grew smaller. Ahead, the blue planet waited. The rabbit chewed their cords, Yun said softly, and saved us all, Jun replied, watching Earth grow larger in the viewport as they finally returned home.